September 15th, 1904, 0832 hours, White Beach 2, Peleliu Island. Private First Class Eugene Bondurant Sledge, nicknamed Sledgehammer, crouches in an Amtrak, amphibious tractor, as it grinds toward Peleliu's beaches. Sledge is 20 years old, from Mobile, Alabama, and this is his first combat. Around him, 35 other Marines from Company K, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marine Regiment, 1st Marine Division. They've been told this will be a short operation, 3 days, maybe 4. Peleliu is a tiny coral island, their briefing officer said. 6 square miles, 11,000 Japanese defenders. We're landing 28,000 Marines. We'll overwhelm them with firepower, secure the airfield by D+3, and be back on ships within a week. The plan sounds simple, but as Sledge's Amtrak approaches the beach, he sees something that makes his stomach tighten. The island ahead doesn't look like the sand and palm tree atolls from training films. Peleliu looks like hell. White coral ridges rise from the center of the island, jagged, sharp formations, 100-200 feet tall. The ridges are honeycombed with dark openings, caves, hundreds of them, carved into the coral. And those caves are where 11,000 Japanese soldiers are waiting. Japanese soldiers who've spent 8 months fortifying Peleliu with one goal: make the Americans pay in blood for every yard. Sledge's Amtrak lurches as its tracks touch coral sand. The ramp drops. "Hit the beach! Move! Move!" the Amtrak commander shouts. Sledge runs down the ramp into knee-deep water. Around him, Marines spread out and begin advancing inland. For the first 30 seconds, there's no Japanese fire. Sledge thinks, maybe the bombardment worked, maybe the Japanese are dead or retreating. Then, at 0835 hours, 3 minutes after Sledge landed, Japanese artillery opens fire. Shells rain down on the beach from hidden positions in the ridges. Machine gun fire sweeps across the Marines from concealed bunkers. Mortar shells arc overhead and explode among the landing craft. Welcome to Peleliu, where the Japanese aren't retreating, where pre-landing bombardment did almost nothing against fortified caves, and where the 1st Marine Division is about to experience the highest casualty rate of any Marine division in the Pacific War. 73 days of hell are beginning, and when it's over, military historians will ask, why did we invade Peleliu? The answer, uncomfortable and tragic, is we didn't need to. To understand Peleliu, we need to understand the strategic debate that led to its invasion. By September 1904, American forces are advancing on 2 axes toward Japan. Central Pacific, Nimitz. Island hopping through Marshalls, Marianas, capturing bases for B-29 bombers. Southwest Pacific, MacArthur, advancing through New Guinea toward Philippines. The 2 commanders have different visions for defeating Japan. Nimitz's plan: bypass Philippines, invade Formosa, Taiwan, then strike directly at Japan. MacArthur's plan: liberate Philippines, where MacArthur famously promised, "I shall return," then invade Japan from the south. President Roosevelt and Joint Chiefs of Staff ultimately choose MacArthur's plan. Philippines will be invaded in October 1904. This decision makes Peleliu, a small island 500 miles east of Philippines, strategically questionable. MacArthur's argument for invading Peleliu has an airfield. If Japanese hold Peleliu, their aircraft could attack my right flank during Philippines invasion. Therefore, Peleliu must be captured. Nimitz's counter-argument: Peleliu's airfield has been bombed repeatedly. Japanese air power in the region is minimal. We can bypass Peleliu, let the garrison wither without supplies while we advance past them. This bypass strategy, isolating Japanese garrisons rather than assaulting them, had proven effective at Rabaul and Truk, saving thousands of American lives. Nimitz recommends bypassing Peleliu. His staff recommends bypassing Peleliu. Even some of MacArthur's staff question whether Peleliu is necessary. But MacArthur insists Peleliu must be taken. And MacArthur has President Roosevelt's backing for Philippines invasion, which gives him authority over supporting operations like Peleliu. So, the invasion is approved. Operation Stalemate 2, 1st Marine Division, will assault Peleliu on September 15, 1904. Expected duration, 3-4 days. Expected casualties, 2,000-3,000. The actual results will be far worse. September 15, 1904, 800 hours. The pre-landing bombardment begins, the heaviest naval gunfire support ever provided for a Pacific amphibious assault. For 3 days, American battleships, cruisers, and destroyers have fired on Peleliu. For 2 hours on D-Day morning, the bombardment intensifies, thousands of shells hammering the island. Admiral Jesse Oldendorf, commanding the bombardment force, confidently reports, "We have run out of targets, everything on Peleliu is destroyed." He's wrong. The Japanese, commanded by Colonel Kunio Nakagawa, have built fortifications that naval gunfire can't destroy. Cave systems, 500-plus caves carved into coral ridges, some with multiple levels, interconnected by tunnels, reinforced with concrete and steel, immune to naval bombardment. Artillery positions, guns mounted in caves with narrow firing slits. Can fire on beaches but can't be hit by naval guns. Infantry positions, small, mutually supporting bunkers camouflaged into coral, invisible from sea or air. Nakagawa has learned from previous Japanese defeats at Tarawa and Saipan. At those battles, Japanese commanders launched suicidal banzai charges, throwing away their forces in futile attacks. Nakagawa's strategy is different. We will not banzai charge. We will defend from prepared positions. We will make the Americans attack us in terrain where their firepower advantage is negated. Every cave must be cleared individually. Every yard must cost American blood. We cannot win, but we can kill 10,000 Americans before we die. It's the same strategy General Kuribayashi will use at Iwo Jima 5 months later. But Peleliu is the first time Americans face this new Japanese defensive doctrine, and they're not prepared. At 0832 hours, the first wave of Marines lands, 3 battalions hitting 3 beaches simultaneously. Initial resistance is light. As planned, the Japanese are letting the Americans land before opening fire. Sledge's company advances 100 yards inland before Japanese fire begins. When it begins, it's devastating. Artillery shells explode among the Marines, not random fire, but precisely aimed at pre-registered impact points. Nakagawa's gunners have spent months mapping every square yard of the beaches. They're firing blind from their caves, but hitting accurately because they have memorized the coordinates. Machine gun fire sweeps the beach from bunkers the Marines can't see, camouflaged positions firing through narrow slits. Mortar shells arc from behind the ridges. Impossible to locate, impossible to suppress. The Marines take cover and try to advance, but advancing on Peleliu is nearly impossible. The terrain is sharp coral, not sand, but jagged rock that tears uniforms, cuts hands, and makes digging foxholes almost impossible. The temperature is 115 degrees. Marines are carrying 60-pound combat loads in heat that causes dehydration within hours. And Japanese fire is constant. Marines can't move without being targeted. By 1,000 hours, 90 minutes after landing, the 1st Marine Division has suffered 500 casualties. The plan called for securing the airfield by D+1, but D+1 will come and go with the Marines barely off the beaches. September 16, 1904, D+1. The Marines' immediate objective, the Point, a coral promontory on the left flank, 40 feet high, honeycombed with caves. The point must be secured to protect the Marines' flank as they advance inland. Captain George Hunt's Company K, 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines receives the mission. Hunt's company numbers 235 men. Over the next 30 hours, they'll fight for a piece of coral 75 yards long and 50 yards wide. By the time the point is secured, Hunt's company will be reduced to 18 effective men, 92% casualties. Private Russell Davis, one of the survivors, later described the fighting. The point wasn't a battle, it was extermination. We'd attack a cave, throw in grenades, blast it with flamethrowers, seal it with satchel charges. Then Japanese would emerge from another cave we didn't know existed and attack from behind. We'd fight them off, then realize they were just a distraction, while more Japanese infiltrated through tunnels. It was fighting a hydra. Cut off one head, 2 more appear. The cave warfare at Peleliu requires new tactics. Standard procedure for clearing a cave. Step 1. Infantry. Suppresses cave entrance with rifle and machine gun fire. Step 2. Flamethrower team approaches, 75 yards maximum range. Soldier carries 65-pound fuel tank. Fires 10-second burst of napalm into cave. Step 3. Demo team follows, throws satchel charges, 20 pounds of C2 explosive, into cave, detonates. Step 4. Infantry enters cave to confirm all defenders dead. But this procedure has problems. Problem 1. Flamethrower operators are priority targets. Japanese snipers kill them immediately when exposed. Problem 2. Many caves have multiple entrances. Sealing one entrance is useless if Japanese can escape through another. Problem 3. Some cave systems have multiple levels. Clearing the ground floor doesn't clear upper or lower levels. Problem 4. Japanese use caves offensively, popping out to attack, then retreating into tunnels before Marines can respond. The result? Clearing Peleliu's caves is slow, dangerous, and costly. Private Sledge, assigned to Company K's 60mm mortar section, experiences cave warfare for the first time on D+3, September 18th. His company is ordered to assault a cave complex on a ridge the Marines call Bloody Nose Ridge. Japanese call it Umurbrogol. The ridge is approximately 1,000 yards long, 400 yards wide, and 150 feet tall. It contains an estimated 200 caves, many interconnected. The 1st Marine Division will fight on Bloody Nose Ridge for 58 days. Sledge's first assault goes like this. So 600 hours, company forms up at base of ridge. Order, advance up slope, locate caves, call for support teams. 0630 hours, advance begins. Marines climb coral slope, 40-degree angle in some places, requires hands and feet, exhausting in 110-degree heat. 0645 hours, Japanese machine gun opens fire from cave 50 yards ahead. Marines dive for cover behind coral outcroppings. 0700 hours, flamethrower team called forward. Operator, Private Robert Oswald, advances toward cave entrance while squad provides covering fire. 0705 hours. Oswald fires flamethrower, 10-second burst of napalm through cave entrance. The napalm is jellied gasoline that sticks to surfaces and burns at 2000 degrees. 0706 hours. Japanese inside cave scream. Some run out burning, Marines shoot them, others retreat deeper into cave. 0710 hours. Demo team approaches with satchel charge. They throw it into the cave entrance, take cover, detonate. 0711 hours. Massive explosion. Cave entrance partially collapses. 0715 hours. Infantry squad enters cave to confirm kill. They find 4 dead Japanese, burned and blown apart. But from a different cave entrance 30 yards away, more Japanese open fire. The cave system is interconnected. Sledge's company spends the entire day fighting on this one ridge. By 1800 hours, they've cleared 3 caves. They've advanced 50 yards. They've suffered 23 casualties, 3 killed, 20 wounded, and tomorrow they'll do it again. The Caves of Death. The caves of Peleliu aren't simple holes in rock. They're sophisticated defensive positions, engineered by Japanese military engineers and mining experts brought to Peleliu specifically for fortification work. Typical large cave system features: entrance, narrow opening, 3-5 feet wide, camouflaged with vegetation or coral debris, often covered by machine gun position. Main chamber, 20-40 feet deep, 15-20 feet wide, holds 20-50 soldiers plus ammunition and supplies. Side chambers, smaller rooms branching from main chamber, used for sleeping, medical care, ammunition storage. Ventilation shafts, vertical shafts providing air circulation. Critical because caves are hot, 90 to 100 degrees inside, and poorly ventilated. Escape tunnels, connecting to other caves or exits, allows defenders to retreat when one position is compromised. Firing ports, small openings providing fields of fire without exposing defenders. Some cave systems are even more elaborate. Multi-level caves, 2 or 3 vertical levels connected by carved staircases. Command caves, larger caves with electrical lighting, generators, radio equipment, medical facilities, and commander quarters. Storage caves, massive chambers storing months of food, water, ammunition, allowing Japanese to hold out even when surrounded. Colonel Nakagawa's command cave, discovered after the battle, contained 3 levels, multiple rooms, electrical lighting, radio room, medical station, kitchen, storage for 3 months of supplies, multiple escape tunnels, defensive positions covering all approaches. This wasn't a desperate last stand in a hole. This was a fortress carved into coral, and the Marines had to clear it yard by yard, cave by cave. The physical toll was immense. Heat casualties. At 115 degrees ambient temperature and higher inside caves, Marines collapsed from heat exhaustion constantly. The 1st Marine Division reported 1,393 heat casualties, nearly 5% of the division incapacitated by heat alone. Water shortage. Each Marine needed 6 to 8 quarts of water per day in Peleliu's heat. Supply couldn't keep up. Marines rationed to 2 quarts per day, causing dehydration. Coral cuts. The sharp coral cut through uniforms, boots, and skin. Every Marine had dozens of cuts that became infected in the tropical heat. Corpsmen called it coral rot, wounds that wouldn't heal, becoming gangrenous. Disease, dysentery, malaria, dengue fever, and other tropical diseases incapacitated hundreds of Marines. The psychological toll was worse. Constant danger. Marines couldn't relax. Japanese could emerge from caves at any moment, even in cleared areas. No rest. The battle continued 24/7. Japanese infiltrated at night, attacking sleeping Marines, forcing constant vigilance. Casualties, watching friends killed daily, seeing men burned by flamethrowers, hearing wounded scream, burying bodies. All created trauma that we now call PTSD, but was then called combat fatigue. Private Sledge kept a journal, published decades later as With the Old Breed. His September 25th entry, D+10, reads, "We've been fighting for 10 days. It feels like 10 years. I don't remember what it's like to be cool, to drink enough water, to sleep without waking up to shooting. I don't remember what it's like to not see dead bodies every day. This place is hell. Not figuratively, literally hell. And we're still fighting for ridges that have no names, no purpose, no meaning, except more Marines die taking them." 73 days in hell. The Battle of Peleliu officially lasted 73 days, September 15th to November 27th, 1944. But the 1st Marine Division fought only 58 days before being relieved. The Marines expected a 3-4 day battle. They fought for 2 months. Timeline of the battle, D-Day to D+3, Sep 15 to 18. Initial landings, secure beachhead, capture airfield, 3 to 946 casualties. D+4 to D+15, Sep 19 to 30. Assault on Bloody Nose Ridge begins. Slow costly progress, 2,500 additional casualties. D+16 to D+30, Octagon 15. 1st Marines, one of 3 regiments, pulled offline. 65% casualties, combat ineffective. Replaced by 321st Infantry Regiment, Army, fighting continues. 1,800 additional casualties. D+31 to D+45, Octi 1630. Remainder of 1st Marine Division pulled offline. 81st Infantry Division takes over. 2,000 additional Marine casualties before relief. D+46 to D+73, Octi 31 Nov 27. 81st Infantry Division continues cave clearing operations. Island declared secure on November 27th, though Japanese holdouts continue fighting for months. Final casualties, American forces, 2,136 killed, 8,450 wounded. Total, 10 max casualties. Casualty rate, 38.5%, highest of any Marine division in Pacific War. Japanese forces, 1,000 killed, of 11,000 garrison, 202 captured, 1.8% survival rate. Eugene Sledge survived Peleliu. He was one of the lucky ones, physically unwounded, though psychologically scarred. After Peleliu, Sledge's company, Company K-35, was rebuilt with replacements and sent to Okinawa in April 1945. Sledge survived that battle too. After the war, he earned a PhD in biology, became a professor, and in 1981 published his memoir, With the Old Breed, considered one of the finest personal accounts of infantry combat ever written. Sledge died in 2001 at age 7. His memoir's closing lines about Peleliu: "We didn't win anything at Peleliu. We took an island that didn't matter. We killed 11,000 Japanese who couldn't have affected the war's outcome if they'd lived. And we sacrificed 10,000 Americans, killed or wounded, for nothing. That's not victory, that's just waste." After Peleliu, military analysts asked, was this battle necessary? The answer, uncomfortable for the commanders who ordered it, is no. Evidence that Peleliu was unnecessary. MacArthur's Philippines invasion succeeded without Peleliu's support. The Philippines landings began October 20, 1904, 5 weeks after Peleliu's D-Day. Japanese air attacks from Peleliu on Philippines invasion forces, 0. Why? Because Peleliu's airfield was so heavily bombed before September 15th, the Japanese couldn't operate aircraft from it anyway. MacArthur's justification for Peleliu, protect my flank from air attack, never materialized because the threat didn't exist. Peleliu's airfield was unnecessary. After Marines captured the airfield on D+3, American planes operated from it. But those planes could have operated from other bases, Morotai, Anguair, Guam, that were already in American hands. Peleliu provided no unique capability. Bypassing Peleliu would have been viable. Japanese garrisons bypassed elsewhere. Rabaul, Truk, Kavieng, withered without supply and contributed nothing to Japanese war effort. Peleliu's garrison, isolated on a tiny island with no naval support, would have faced the same fate. Post-war analysis, Admiral William Halsey, 3rd Fleet Commander, wrote in 1947, Peleliu was unnecessary. MacArthur wanted it, Nimitz questioned it, I opposed it. The battle was fought because MacArthur insisted, not because strategy demanded it. 10,000 American casualties for an island we didn't need. That's command failure. Admiral Chester Nimitz, Pacific Fleet Commander, wrote, Peleliu taught us that bypassing strongly defended positions is preferable to assaulting them when the position has no strategic value. We should have applied that lesson at Peleliu instead of learning it there. Major General Roy Geiger, the 3rd Amphibious Corps Commander, defended the operation. Hindsight makes every commander wise. In September 1904, we believed Peleliu threatened MacArthur's flank. We were wrong, but we didn't know that then. Command requires decisions with incomplete information. Geiger's defense is partially valid. Commanders can't know the future. But Nimitz and his staff did recommend bypassing Peleliu before the battle. The information existed. MacArthur chose to ignore it. Modern military analysis, the U.S. Army War College and Marine Corps University both use Peleliu as a case study in flawed operational planning. Lessons identified. 1. Strategic value must justify operational costs. Don't fight battles unless the objective is worth the casualties. 1. Bypassing is a valid strategy. Isolating enemy forces can be more effective than destroying them. 1. Intelligence must overcome command bias. When intelligence says an operation is unnecessary, commanders must listen rather than pursuing operations for political or personal reasons. 1. Sunk cost fallacy kills soldiers. Once Peleliu proved more difficult than expected, the operation should have been re-evaluated rather than continued out of pride. These lessons were known before Peleliu. Tarawa and Saipan had already demonstrated the cost of assaulting fortified islands. But institutional momentum and command ego overrode strategic wisdom. September 15th to November 27th, 1944, 73 days on a 6-square-mile island, 10 American casualties, 100 Japanese dead. And at the end, military historians ask, what did we accomplish? The answer, we took an island that didn't need to be taken. We killed 11,000 Japanese who were already isolated and ineffective. And we sacrificed 10,000 Americans because a commander refused to admit the operation was unnecessary. Peleliu is America's reminder that even in a just war, even when fighting for the right cause, commanders make catastrophic mistakes, and soldiers pay in blood for decisions made in air-conditioned headquarters thousands of miles away. These stories of sacrifice, command failure, and lessons ignored deserve to be remembered. Subscribe so they never fade into history. Next time, 5 days, 38,000 Germans stop by 4,000 Americans, the ridge that saved the Battle of the Bulge's northern shoulder.